Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior, and today we're going to be talking about the origin of the Devil Gene. Now before I actually lay out the timeline and do a proper breakdown to kind of pinpoint the very first being who had it, I'm going to be explaining the old continuity compared to the new continuity. You see, from Tekken 3/4 onwards, the whole Devil Gene thing started to change. In the first 2 to 3 games, it was portrayed that Kazuya had made a deal with the devil, so he could thus destroy his father Heihachi. But this came at a price. He had to sell his soul to it, and he did it as such. Now after Kazuya defeated his father and became head of the Mishima Hachijo, the devil wanted his payment and slowly started to change and transform Kazuya into, well, Devil Kazuya. But after Kazuya was defeated by Heihachi and temporarily killed off, the devil wanted to seek out another host, and he tried to find it in the pregnant Jin Kazama, who at the time was pregnant with Kazuya Mishima's child, Jin. Now Jin was in fact able to fight off this demonic spirit and save her child from the very same demon his father had fallen to. But in the third Tekken game, the Devil Gene takes a backseat role to Ogre. It's only up until Tekken 4 where continuity changes start to apply. We learn in Tekken 4 that all of this has been changed, and now instead of it being an actual demonic presence that is infecting and corrupting people's minds, it's in fact a genetic parasite that has passed from person to person for centuries. But where exactly did this come from? Well, I've set out a timeline here where all of this has kind of come from. Now the Devil Gene itself still hasn't been given a proper origin, but the closest thing we do have to it right now is in fact the boss we had in Tekken 6, the demon dragon Azazel. Now not too much is known about Azazel, but Jin had theorized that this is where the Devil Gene had originated from, as Azazel himself does in fact have the Devil Gene, and Jin believed that by killing the originator of the gene, that he would thus purge everyone of it, preventing any future devastation that this genetic parasite would ever do. Of course, he was wrong by the end of Tekken 6, as we see that Jin had apparently killed Azazel, and in Tekken 7 we see that Jin and Kazuya still in fact do have the Devil Gene, which does mean one of two things: Azazel wasn't the originator of the Devil Gene, or 2, Jin could have been completely wrong about killing Azazel and the Devil Gene will continue to live on and as such infect future hosts. But that's really all we know about Azazel. Now if we go forward by a few centuries, we come across the Hachijo clan. Now the Hachijos have existed for a very long amount of time. They've been around for decades, and despite having originated from Japan, the bloodline has some form of ties to presumably Azazel, as members of that clan have suffered from the Devil Gene, but they have used this demonic power to in fact benefit them, as the Hachijos are in fact a clan of assassins and have been using their demonic abilities to take out powerful and threatening figures to the world. Now during the early 20th century, the Hachijos send one of their daughters to infiltrate the Mishima dojo. The person they sent was a woman called Kazumi Hachijo. You see, the Hachijos had caught on word of a man by the name of Heihachi Mishima. Now Heihachi Mishima was a very self-centered and headstrong individual, and was a man who had his eyes set on world conquest. So they decided to send in Kazumi to in fact kind of sway him from what he wanted, and if this couldn't be done, then she would have to kill him. So Kazumi was able to entice Heihachi, and through love they were able to get married and have their child Kazuya Mishima. So as you would expect, the Devil Gene would in fact pass on. Now due to Heihachi's greed, Kazumi was forced to battle and kill him, but of course she wasn't quite capable of this, and as such was killed. Now due to Heihachi in fact seeing this newly originated devil form, he would wonder if his son Kazuya possessed the same abilities, and would throw him off a cliffside. And as you would expect, Kazuya would survive, awakening the Devil Gene that had resided in him. But of course we all know how that goes, as I did mention it at the very beginning of the video. So let's transition to Tekken 3, where we meet Jin Kazama. Now Jin at the very beginning is quite unaware of his heritage, as he never met Kazuya and was quite unfamiliar with his powers, not even knowing that they existed until he was shot in the head by Heihachi. It's from that point onwards, when his Devil Gene kind of activates, that he comes to the realization of how dangerous something like this would be in the hands of someone like Heihachi or any form of organization that has their eyes set on world conquest. So he makes it his own personal objective to find a way to kind of purge this Devil Gene from the world, which is why in Tekken 6 he kills Azazel. But as we all know, by the time Tekken 7 rolls around, is that his somewhat sacrifice is in vain, as 1, well, he doesn't really die, so it's not quite a sacrifice, and 2, Kazuya still exists with his devil form. But that so far in its entirety has been everyone we know in the current canon, but to help clear up any problems, I want to feature a few characters here at the end to help you all with some of the misconceptions and changes that Tekken has kind of gone through and kind of misled their audience. The most infamous one here is Jinpachi Mishima. Now Jinpachi Mishima was in fact advertised to be someone that had had the Devil Gene. But after his defeat at the end of Tekken 5, despite it, kind of featuring him saying got possessed by the devil, the creator of the game, Harada, decided to go on Twitter and finally debunk what had happened to Jinpachi Mishima, saying that instead of it actually being the Devil Gene, it was in fact a demonic spirit that had come to possess him and corrupt his soul upon his death. Another person to talk about here, and the most recent entry into the Tekken series, is the infamous Akuma. Now, because Akuma does describe himself as a demon, many people believe that there were ties to him and the Devil Gene. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a possibility here, but as of right now, Akuma isn't related to anyone that has the Devil Gene. Another one that is of major interest, and that is a new addition to the Tekken series, is Claudio. Now, his skill set is said to be like the anti-Devil Gene, and with his ties to being an exorcist and the somewhat supernatural power he can draw from the starburst he can gain, it's hard to deny that there's actually something there. But due to a lack of information and focus on the character, we don't really know what Claudio is. He may be actually a very far descendant of the Devil Gene line, but until we actually get more information about the character, we have to say he's not really related to the Devil Gene bloodline. Another person is Lars Alexanderson. Lars Alexanderson may be related to Heihachi Mishima, but since Heihachi himself isn't really blood related to the Hachijos, it means that Lars actually lacks the Devil Gene. Another being to talk about is Ogre. Now, we do learn that at some point, Ogre did in fact come in contact with someone that had possessed the Devil Gene. However, the information about this is vague at best. Outside of that, Ogre himself is in no way, shape or form related to the Devil Gene. He's in fact an alien, so that's in a completely different ballpark. Another individual to talk about is the vampire Eliza. Once again, is in no way, shape or form actually related to the Devil Gene, but she herself is a supernatural being, one that has existed for a very long amount of time. Now, one that has had the Devil Gene but lives outside the main continuity is the being called Unknown. Unknown has only featured in Tekken Tag 1 and 2, and it's basically a version of Jin Kazama that has been possessed by some form of wolf spirit. Now, normally Jin doesn't have the somewhat well-known devil brand on her. It's only put on her when she merges with the wolf spirit, which does raise the question that the wolf spirit itself may be responsible for the Devil Gene actually existing. But since this being exists outside the main canon and continuity, we can only somewhat take this idea with a grain of salt. But yeah, that's more or less it for the video. Hopefully this has given you a good enough understanding of the Devil Gene, where it's come from, and what may happen in the future. Now, next week I'll actually be covering the origins of the Satsue no Hado and anyone who's been able to kind of tap into it. So if you're a massive Street Fighter fan, please do keep an eye out for that. And next week you'll also be getting a Darkstalkers video on Jeddah. Now, before this video wraps up, guys, if possible, let's try getting it to about 500 likes. It's a great way of supporting this channel, as YouTube's ad system is broken as hell right now. So by giving it a thumbs up, it helps out a ton. And if you want to go that extra mile, we also have a Patreon set up. Now, as always, guys, please comment, like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care, and I'll see you all next time.